Hey gang, Jane back today with a crochet tutorial on simple little shapes, great for scrap busting and quick and easy little projects. In this series, I'll be exploring the most common granny square shapes and how to crochet each of these shapes from the same simple circle in only 3 rounds. Yeah, you heard me right. 3 rounds and that is all. Most granny squares start with a simple center and then from there we develop a shape. The most common shapes are a circle, a square, a hexagon, and an octagon. Each of these can be worked from the same center circle. I love using these little pieces as on-the-go projects because they're so small, they're easy to take with me anywhere I go. They're also great stash busters because they require so little amount of yarn that you can make a pile of these after each of your projects and then join them together to make even more projects. Things like pillow tops, trivets, bags, and even blankets. In this series, I'll be exploring each of the shapes and how to use simple math to determine the number of stitches for each edge. You can then apply this easy method to determine the number of stitches and corners for any shape you may be working with. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you're enjoying these tutorials, please like and share them with your friends. That helps me to keep this free content coming and to help inspire more people to get creative. Today's tutorial, we will be focusing on the square. It's the most common shape, and it has a few extra things to consider as it is the shape with the least amount of corners, and so we have to compensate using stitch heights for turning rounded edges into flat edges. So before we start working our little square, let's take a look at all the shapes and their similarities and differences. We start with a basic circle, which I'll show you how to make. The 2 rounds will bring us up to 24 stitches. With these, we can continue and make a circle, or we can make other shapes by working corners into our rounds. The most common shapes for granny squares are the following. We can make a square that has 4 corners and 4 edges. We can make a hexagon that has 6 corners and 6 edges. And we can make an octagon that has 8 corners and 8 edges. The biggest question I get is, how do I determine where to place my corners? Today I'm going to focus on the square shape. So before we go any further with the math part of this, let's get the first 2 rounds of our circle done. We're going to start with our center circle. I'm going to be using caramel for our center color. We leave the cut end lying across our palm using our thumb to hold it in place. Wrap it around your first 2 fingers, cross it underneath, hold it in place again with your thumb, and wrap it around 3 fingers. You're going to take your hook and go under the first one and over the second one and pull it through and twist it onto your hook. Then you can slip out your fingers and you've got your magic ring. So our round 1 is going to be all double crochets. So we chain 1 and then 2 and 3. That's our first double crochet. Now I need 11 more into this ring. Yarn over, insert into the ring, pull up a loop, through 2 and through 2. So 1, yarn over, insert into the ring, through 2 and through 2. Yarn over, insert into the ring, pull up a loop, through 2 and through 2. So that's 4 double crochet. I need 12 total. Keep working double crochets. I'll meet you back here and we'll get on to round 2. So here I am with 12 double crochet. That includes the chain 3 at the beginning. I'm going to take my cut end and holding it at the base of the last stitch I made, pull the cut end and it cinches up the ring. So pull it nice and tight. Here we are. We have a round number 1 and I'm going to do an invisible join. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut about 3 to 4 inches, pull it through with my hook, grab your darning needle and put the yarn on the needle. And we're going to do an invisible join here. So you're going to take the needle and you're going to go under your first stitch, the 2 loops. So not the chain 3, but under the 2 loops of your first stitch. Pull it through, come back and go into the stitch that you just finished, right through the top of it and down the back. Pull it and it will create a loop just like the other stitches. It's going to look just like the other stitches. Pull it to the same tension. Now to secure this in place, what I do is I come back up through the middle of the stitch I just created, right up through the center of that loop, back down through the one behind it, and that creates a nice little secure loop. And then I come back and do only the back loops, and I pick it up all the way around my ring. You can go as far as you want. Sometimes I try to go all the way around if the ring is this small. There we are. And I put that all in the back. Then I'll clip this, darn this little end through the back of this ring here, and we'll move on to round number 2. Round number 2, now that I have round number 1 completed and the ends darned in, I'm going to do with a putty. You can do it the same color as this. You can do the whole piece the same color, but because I want to show each round, I'm going to do each one in different colors. So I'm using this off-white putty color. The next round is going to be all single crochets. It's going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch, and that's going to double our numbers from 12 to 24. So I'm going to start with a standing single crochet, wrap my yarn around the hook, holding it at the back, insert into any of these stitches, and under the cut end at the back, pull up a loop and complete my single crochet. That's my first single crochet. Now I want to work another one into that same space. And there's my first 2 single crochet. I'm going to work 2 single crochet in every stitch around. So in the next stitch, 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet, and again in the next stitch. So I'm increasing the number of stitches by 12, which actually doubles them. So you continue around doing 2 single crochets in each stitch. You're going to have 24 single crochet at the end. I'll meet you back here and we'll finish off the round. Here we are, 24 single crochet, and make sure you count them, because if you messed up in this round, you'll be short on this round, and then it's going to mess up how we work our corners. I'm going to cut my yarn and do another invisible join, pulling it through, putting the yarn on my needle, and again remember to go skip the first stitch, whatever that is, if it's chain or stitch, skip the first one, go under the 2 loops of the second one, pulling it through, and back in where you came out of, down through the back, and you just imitated the stitch. So you're not making any more stitches, you're just imitating the stitch underneath it. So you should still have 24 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and secure this yarn, darn it in around the back loops, and we'll be ready to start our shape. Now we're ready to get into a little bit of simple crochet math, and don't worry, I'm going to walk you through this. So we have 24 stitches after round 2 of our circle. A square has 4 corners, so to find the number of stitches per edge, we start by subtracting the number of stitches for the corners. We have to reserve those for the corners, so we subtract 4 from our total number. We end up with 20 remaining stitches. Now we need to find out the stitches per edge, so we're going to divide this by the number of edges. We have 4 edges, so we do 20 divided by 4. This equals 5 stitches, and that is the number of stitches we are going to have for each edge. So now our square will use 1 stitch for each of the 4 corners and 5 stitches for each of the 4 edges. And the total of those is 24. Now before we tackle the square, let's jump ahead and see what this is going to look like on the finished piece. You can see 5 stitches are being used to create each edge, and 1 corner stitch is used to create the corners for this next round. My corners are always made by working 2 stitches with a chain stitch to turn the corner, and in this case it's going to be a double crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet all into that 1 corner stitch. One more thing to notice here is that because you're turning a circle into a square, in this shape we are using 2 heights of stitches in this next round to make the edge go from a curved edge to a straight edge quickly. So I have both double crochet and half double crochet stitches worked into this edge so that the nice straight edge forms from a curved edge. Now let's get into round 3 of our shape that makes it into a square. Now that we've discussed the math of the shape, let's create the shape. We start with a double crochet. I like to do a standing double crochet, so I wrap twice around the hook. This time I'm not going under the cut end, and I insert into any one of these stitches and complete my double crochet. Now the next stitch is also going to be a double crochet. So wrapping my yarn, I go under the cut end as well because I like to work my ends in. And complete another double crochet. And now we're going to do 3 half double crochets. So we do our first half double crochet in the next stitch. And I like to go under my cut end. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And now I'll do a double crochet in the next stitch. And that completes the first edge. So this is the first part of our first corner. And then we have a double crochet, 3 half double crochets, and a double crochet. So that's 5 stitches right there. And the reason for the different heights of stitch is because as you approach the corners, you need more height in your stitches, therefore the double crochets. And when you're in the center, you need less height, therefore the half double crochets. Now we're going to work our corner, which is a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet into this next stitch. So double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet. And that's our first corner as we come down the next side of our circle. You're going to do this exact repeat right here all the way around. You're going to come back up here and we'll finish this corner together. So remember, double crochet, 3 half double crochets, and a double crochet. That's 5 stitches. Then you do a corner, double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. And then you keep on doing that, and you should end up back here with your 5 edge stitches ready to do your last half of this corner. There shouldn't be any stitches left. So I'll meet you back here and we'll finish this shape together. So here you've worked your first edge and your first corner, second edge, second corner, third edge, third corner, and your fourth edge, and we have no stitches left, and we're working on our last corner. So what we want to do now is work a double crochet into the same stitch that we joined into for the last half of this corner, chain 3, and then we're going to slip stitch in this first double crochet. So try to go into the top of that standing double crochet and just work a slip stitch. So there you have your completed square. I'm going to cut my yarn, pull that through, and we'll darn that end in. And that is the first of our shapes finished. Next time you're trying to adapt a circle into a square shape, keep this simple math in mind to calculate where your corners will be and how many stitches you'll need on each edge. These little squares in this tutorial each take less than 4 grams of yarn. You can whip these up so quickly. Keep an eye on my Instagram and my community channel here on YouTube, and I'll post more pics of projects I've made using these quick and easy shapes. Next time, we'll tackle another shape. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to my channel so you're sure to catch all my tutorials as they come out. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.